I am Gregory, and here are the 4 steps you have to take in order to learn how to surf. Step 1, make sure you have the right gear. Sunscreen, towel, and if the water's cold, a wetsuit. There's a wide range of options to go from, but if you get cold easily, I'd go for a streamer. Oh, and of course, your board, duh. Step number 2, balance and standing. Line up your nose so it's right above the spot marked near the top of the board. This could be a line or a logo. Then, make sure your chest and hips are centered on the board and practice the motion of standing by pressing down and popping up into a balanced position. Step number 3, build your self-confidence for 7 years, become an actor, and get cast in a commercial where you're paid to learn how to surf. Yeah, 7 years. That's how long it takes to be this guy, standing up on a board and believing in himself. 7 years is how long it takes to get to the point where you're ready to be hit by wave after wave and finally allow yourself to be better than you were before. I'm not the most athletic guy. I've never really been that way. I grew up and I tried every single sport. None of them really stuck. The whole nature of competing wasn't something that I was really drawn to. And I later learned as an adult that my whole life I've been someone who has avoided a lot of discomforts. I just don't like being uncomfortable. I think most people are in the camp where they look at something like skydiving or cliff jumping and they say, that looks interesting, but not for me, not right now. It's the not right now. It's that phrase. When will it be the most convenient time in your life to try something new? I went to high school, I moved to California for college, graduated college, I moved to Los Angeles, I worked in Los Angeles, a global pandemic happened, I moved back to Texas. And when I came back to Texas, I realized, oh my gosh, I never learned how to surf in California. Something that when I moved there, I kept saying, not right now. Not right now. Thinking about how most of us put off what we really want to do until it's too late, I thought about this one question, which is, when do we learn to stand up? When do we learn to stand up for what we believe in, for ourselves, for our dreams, for what we want out of life? When do we learn how to stand up for the things that we know matter the most to us? In order to understand how I learned to stand up on a surfboard, you have to go back 7 to 8 years, and you got to meet a friend of mine named Kevin.
I could aim that way too. It'd be better to go this way. How about this background? Sorry, there's a crazy bird out here. But
yeah, it's okay. He's the third guest.
I think he's just trying to be on the show.
Kevin is a videographer and filmmaker from Ohio. He's probably the most adventurous guy you'll ever meet, and he's done some pretty amazing projects all around the world. He and I became friends in college when he casted me in his short film, I Date.
What do you remember about filming I Date?
It was the best team experience that I've ever had in my life, where I just felt like everyone was nailing their part of production, and it was just so much fun to work on. And it was the first film for me that really validated, like, maybe I can do this directing thing, or maybe we can actually take something on script and make it good and execute it, and people liked it. So,
and it was the first time that I felt like I actually could act legitimately, because anything before that was me playing myself. The Facebook character was so it was an app. Like the guy's sole mission was to be incessantly annoying, and I think, I don't know, you just made an environment that made it so fun to play the entire time.
I remember going to sets where I was a grip or a sound guy, and I would have an idea for something, and the director was like, I don't care what you think, this is my film. I'm going to do it this way. And I always felt, it seems like they're not really letting everyone just think for themselves and like have come up with ideas. Right. Kind of like surfing, where I was talking to my friend out here who's a professional surfer, and we were just relating it to other sports, and like even a half pipe snowboarding. If you snowboard into a half pipe, the half pipe is the same every time. But surfing, there's this element of nature that like you can't predict what's going to happen. It's a different wave every time. It's a different day. There's different wind. There's different swell direction. There's so many things that are coming at you that you don't know what's going to happen. And you're actually like on the wave, you're changing as you're going, where snowboarding kind of just stays where it is. I feel like it's more fun like that when you're directing a movie or on set, when you can receive this input that you don't know what's going to happen. People are going to improv, and it's fun that way. I think it's not fun if it's just like, this is the way it's going to go. We're going to get all this done, and then it's over.
All right, well, let me head home and throw my boards in, and then so just bring those 2 catch surfs.
2 catch surfs, and then why don't you just bring 3? And then I'll ride the 7-foot. He'll be on the 8-foot, and you be on whatever board you want to be on.
What you got to understand about Kevin is that he has an entrepreneurial spirit, and he's very good at finding freelance work for himself. He's never met a stranger in his life, and he's someone that is constantly networking and creating opportunities.
All right, Neil's on his way. Neil's going to be the surf instructor, so he's going to be with probably swim fins, and then we're going to get the ideas to get Greg learning how to surf. He's going to be failing, but then we want to actually get him riding a wave, and we're going to try to get some pictures and videos on a GoPro. Maybe we'll use the iPhone with a water housing.
His love for adventuring and kite surfing eventually brought him to a company called Blueboard, where their business model is pairing employees with unforgettable experiences. So instead of getting swag or a gift card when you do a good job at work, Blueboard will help your hiring manager find opportunities that really can mean something to you. This can be an adventure, this can be a learning experience. When Kevin found his way to Blueboard, everything clicked and made sense. This was the place that he needed to be.
So Blueboard came to me and was like, we want to make a 30-second ad of a new character that is going through the status quo and then ends up going to a Blueboard experience. And I thought first, Greg. Let's get Greg in there. And they even, you know what's crazy is they said to me, how about someone like Greg? They don't know you. They didn't know you. They just said Greg.
Just threw the name, just the name.
That was the name. Yeah. Like that was the name.
You called me at the perfect time because I was just ending 2 corporate jobs. Like I was at a 9-to-5. I was in the office building, like top skyscraper overlooking a downtown, the whole thing. And I was miserable because they didn't really treat their employees the way that Blueboard is trying to, which is kind of an honoring experience. They were very much like, be in the office at 8 o'clock, not 8:01, and you have to be here till 5, and there's no leniency, and we don't want creative ideas. We want it done one way. And
I had a lot of jobs like that in my early 20s, but when Kevin called me and offered me to come learn how to surf for a Blueboard commercial, where I would be an actor, a sales guy learning how to surf, but at the time I was actually a sales guy who wanted to learn how to surf, how could I pass up the offer to make my dream an actual reality? So I got on a plane to San Diego, and I decided that right now is when I need to learn how to surf.
We got sun, baby. Let's go.
We're just walking down the pier and we saw an actual school of people learning how to surf. And so we just inched closer and closer. I started melding into the crowd. We talked to one instructor and they were like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah, go ahead and come on out. We met the head instructor, Jamie. She let us borrow her board. She was super nice. And yeah, I found my actual school to learn with. So thanks, Blueboard.
when did you stand up for the first time in your life? Like, what does that mean to you?
It's interesting because it's like people say you should go into something being like ultra confident and be like, I am the best. Like, I will lose the weight. I will complete the marathon. And I feel like it's actually more confident to be like, I might not finish the marathon, you know, but I'm like confident in that I might not finish. I think that translates into something where you can, in a different sense, stand up and actually work hard. because you're like, okay, I know what I feel like I like. Now I'm going to stand up and actually put the reps in to do it. Okay, I've decided I like surfing, but now I got to decide that I actually need to like start paddling really hard and like need to actually catch a wave. And I decided I liked making videos. I love technology and art and all of the mix of that. But now I got to stand up and actually wake up early and put the hours in editing and do a bunch of business meetings and write scripts and post videos all the time. And that is the next level, which I think everyone's still working on constantly. It's never like you get there. Or were you I think it's where you trying to stand up. Is it that you actually stood up? Yay, great, good job, you stood up. Or is it like, maybe it's just that you were just trying to stand up. You have the attitude that you're stoked to try to stand up. I think that's more important, even if you didn't. But you're like, man, that was fun, I almost got it. That's good. That's good enough even, you know?
As an adult, and as you're learning these things that you like, from science to film to art to technology, crossing into it, standing up is this repetitive process, it seems like. It seems like this thing that you have to do over and over again and level up in different ways. You know, it's like me. Like, I stood up for the first time on that surfboard, and I immediately fell.
Stand, all the way up, go! Yes!
But because I was able to stand up on that board, I live in a reality now where I stood up on a surfboard. And now I have the choice to do it again and again and again and again. Because the more I do it, the better I get. That translates to my relationships, my art, and even how I view myself. I think I like a version of me where I'm standing up more than I'm sitting down.
I enjoy the process of it. They say enjoy the journey, not the destination. But, you know, you want the destination to be epic too. So why not try to do both?
Keep going. That was awesome. Keep going. Yes, that looks good. It looks so good.
Step number 4, pick the right beat.